Hey guys, how y'all doing? BionicleSaurus here, and in this video we are going to be taking a look at the third new 2016 Safari Limited figure that I will be reviewing, the Masiakasaurus. So, getting straight into the overall look, the first thing that I will mention about this figure is the pose, which is... there's just something about the recent theropod poses we've been getting for figures from Safari Limited. They aren't overly active. It's nothing near the extreme action poses that some Papo figures like the Papocarnotaurus or even Papo-Allosaurus have, but something about them is just so natural and fluid. He looks like a real animal, like he could really just start walking right now or looking around, which is a really cool effect that they've had going for the last few years, really. I'd say it started maybe with their 2012 figures, like the Ceratosaurus and the Acrocanthosaurus were the two theropods released that year. I think they were kind of the first figures to have this feel to them. Another thing I really like is the color scheme. That's something they've been really knocking out of the park so far for the 2016 figures. I gotta say, some of the color choices I wasn't really a fan of last year, like the Sauropelta just being plain brown, or the Eutyrannus having almost no interesting coloration besides the red crests on his head, but so far they've been really impressing me with some of the colors for these new figures. As you can see, this entire figure really looks a lot like the Velociraptor Charlie from Jurassic World, as it is kind of a mossy, dull green with these really dark forest green, almost black stripes, kind of a tiger look going, very, very cool. Technically, on the tip of the tail there is a slight orange kind of tint, but it's mainly only visible on the bottom. It doesn't really show up too much on the sides. It was definitely more prominent in the stock photo and the promotional photos of this figure. So, for overall appearance, I'm going to give this figure a, let's say, a B+. It's certainly not, amazing. It's not one of those figures that's going to immediately grab your eye out of the bunch on the shelf, There's definitely other models that people are going to, immediately notice more than this one, if it's in a big group of other figures, but nonetheless, there's really very little to complain about. There's nothing that really bugs me, and overall, he just looks really solid. Now let's talk about the detail, and of course the first thing that's going to jump out at everyone, as far as detail is concerned, is those massive teeth. Of course, this is by far the most iconic part of this rather obscure animal. It was most likely a piscivore or a fish eater, very, very unusual looking considering it is actually related to, well, no, technically it is an abelisaur, which is the same family that includes animals like Majungasaurus or Carnotaurus. No one would have expected that if they didn't already know it, I'm sure. They've really done a good job capturing the highly unusual dentition of this creature. All the teeth are individually sculpted and very well individually painted to boot, which is just great. I think they've really done a good job with that. The entire body is covered in some very fine scales, all individually sculpted, but very small, almost like tiny pebbly bumps. I know some figures like the Shunosaurus, which was the subject of my last review, they have more prominent circular scales. This one is very bumpy and, like I said, very fine, which is kind of interesting and comes across as a very kind of intricate, detailed texturing. So, for detail, I give this figure an A-. The paint job is simplistic and definitely brings down some of the sculpted detail, but not to the extent of the Shunosaurus or many other Safari Limited figures. The teeth are very well painted and even more well sculpted, and overall, this figure is just really well detailed. Especially considering it isn't tiny, but it's certainly not a large figure, and its head especially is fairly small. Now let's talk about the paleontological accuracy. And I must say, I have a very similar outlook on this figure when it comes to accuracy as I did the Shunosaurus and the Plesiosuchus. It's kind of just the same thing that we've gotten from Safari Limited for many years now, at least in their Wild Safari Dinos line. It's not like I'm super excited to talk about it like, say the Feathered T-Rex from Collect. I'm not like, oh yes, finally this thing is so accurate, we got a model like this. It's just kind of perfect and yet not exactly something that I'm like crazy excited to talk about. I mean, what is there to say? It's proportionally correct. It's got about the right positioning and posing of the whole body. The hands aren't pronated. The neck isn't bent too much. Masiakasaurus did have an unusually stiff neck, actually. One of the lesser known but very unique parts of this animal. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. There's practically nothing incorrect about this reconstruction. That's really all there is to say. I feel like I should be commenting on more things, but I think this is kind of the drill these days with new Safari Limited figures. It's like, I'm not gonna just be screaming passionately about amazing things, and yet there's really nothing wrong with it when it comes to accuracy. So, I'm going to rate this figure's scientific accuracy an A+. I mean, again, you'd think that kind of high rating would be reserved for amazing things like large feathered Coelurosaurs and awesome stuff like that, or, you know, a properly reconstructed Spinosaurus, but I mean, come on. I mean, yeah, okay, it might not jump out as much as, say, the collective feathered T-Rex would as far as accuracy is concerned, but when it comes down to it, there's no issues. So, my final overall rating for this figure is an A-. It has some flaws, granted, you know, but overall, I mean, this is really well done. The head and the teeth and all that unusual dentition is very well detailed. I love the color scheme. The pose is very, very realistic looking and just really looks lifelike. And the accuracy is virtually flawless. Thanks for watching, and BionicleSaurus signing out.